What is up, guys and Spielberg fans? Welcome back to my channel. This is OCD Movie Reviews. My name is On The Brinker, and yes, one of my anticipated films of this year has finally arrived. Today I'm going to review the latest UFO mystery thriller film, and that film is Disclosure Day. This movie is directed by, of course, the legendary Steven Spielberg, and this movie stars Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, Wyatt Russell, Colman Domingo, and Hewson. A meteorologist and a cybersecurity expert find themselves at the center of a movement to expose the government's cover-up of extraterrestrial secrets. So, of course, Disclosure Day, the movie that's in one of my anticipated films of this year, has arrived. And the reason why I'm anticipating for this film, because, two words, Steven Spielberg. Do I really need to say more? One of the greatest directors of all time is making a new original UFO movie ever since Close Encounters, E.T., and it hasn't made one since War of the Worlds that I can think of. I am totally in, with David Koepp writing the screenplay, and also John Williams is coming back with this amazing cast. I was interested, and the trailers really do intrigue me. It definitely looks like a completely different film that Steven Spielberg is doing. It definitely looks like a very original, UFO mystery thriller film. So I was really pumped for this film because, of course, anytime that Steven Spielberg is making a new film, of course, I'm excited for it. Now, this movie had some mixed reviews. Some people really liked this movie. Some people were very disappointed by this movie. Where am I on that defense? I went to this movie with an open mind, just getting my very own opinion out of this film. Now, what are my thoughts on Disclosure Day? In my opinion, I really enjoyed Disclosure Day. I think it's a very good Steven Spielberg film, but it wasn't as great as I wanted it to be. But let's talk about what I really loved about the film first. First of all, of course, Steven Spielberg himself. Still got it. Still freaking got it. He is in his 80s and he still knows how to direct movies. Absolutely, his cinematography in this film, the way he directed this movie is incredible. There are some great one-shots in this film. And the way he directed this film, it still felt like film magic. It still felt like Steven Spielberg brings his old school filming and still brought up and still holding up to this day. It's definitely a very good looking film from start to finish, and I think this is a film that I was very invested in when it comes to this very original concept of what if aliens were real and how would the government and people react to the situation they're in, and what if the government is just hiding secrets that we don't know of. And I think that whole entire concept really brings upon a film, and that's the most intriguing aspect of this entire film. And there are also some really good action scenes. Even though this film is not really an action film, it's more of a mystery UFO thriller film. It's more of a runaway film in a way, but there are some action scenes in the film that I thought is also really well directed, especially a really intense train scene that I think is one of the most intense scenes and probably my favorite scenes in this entire film. Also, the cast in this movie is fantastic. Josh O'Connor does a really good job in this film. He definitely proves to us that he is definitely a fantastic actor, and the more films he brought out, he definitely brings a surprise to our face. Also, Colman Domingo in this film, also a really good job in the film. Another actor that definitely starting to rise up and seeing him basically everywhere. And oh my gosh, every time I see Colman Domingo in a film, he is great. He is really fantastic in the film, becoming one of my favorite actors in a long time in this decade. He definitely plays a very mystery type role in this film, and I was very invested in him in the film. But Hewson, Wyatt Russell, they all did a really good job in the film. But we can all agree, despite that you're disappointed by this film, we can all agree Emily Blunt really stole this film here. She is phenomenal in this film. Every time she is in the film, she gets better and better when it comes to her performance-wise. And in this film, it is no different. She is incredible in this film. There are times where she's hilarious in the film. There are times that she's very unique when it comes to her acting in the film. And even with the emotional scenes, she really does pull it off like it's anyone's business. If this is a contender for her getting nominated for Best Actress, I would have been so happy with that because Emily Blunt is really good in the film, and definitely another one of my biggest positives with the film is Emily Blunt herself. Definitely the best out of everyone in this film when it comes to the character-wise and performance-wise. She really pulls it off in this film. But definitely this whole story, it definitely gets more intriguing where the film goes on, to the point where I'm like, I'm curious how it's going to happen. The results that is happening, it's really well done throughout the most part. I felt also the third act to the ending, wow, it really brings a tear to my eyes. I know some people are very mixed on the ending of this film. I really love the ending. I thought it's a very beautiful ending that has been released and actually got a tear in my eye. And also the final positive that this film brought us is John Williams. Wow. For John Williams, in his age, in his late 90s, and he is still composing scores. I thought after The Fabelmans he's retired, which he was. But now he came back to do another Spielberg movie. And it's like Spielberg and John Williams are like both magic. You know, they're the duo. They're the most iconic duo in film history. And John Williams' score, it's incredible in this film. Not the best that I have seen in his career, but if this was his final composing score in his life, I think it would have ended off fantastically, because his score in this movie is absolutely incredible in this film. There are times in the film where I'm like, I'm literally seeing some Spielberg magic because of John Williams' score alone. So John Williams' score, phenomenal, my friend. Now, despite that I do think Disclosure Day is a good Steven Spielberg movie, I wish this movie could have been great. I wish I loved this movie, but there are some flaws for turning away from this movie from being great, in my opinion. Easily, I would say my biggest flaw when it comes to Disclosure Day is absolutely David Koepp's screenplay. Now, like I said, the whole concept of this film, throughout the most part, I was intrigued. I was invested throughout it. This runaway thriller with some UFO elements in it, and also the story of like, what if the government is hiding these secrets, and basically people trying to revolutionize and try to expose it to the world. I thought that concept is well done throughout the most part. But I wish David Koepp's screenplay could have been much better when it comes to, in my opinion, the way this film was set up. I think the second to third act of this film is really good. But I felt like the way this film was set up in the first act is very, very messy. It's very cluttered. And I felt like it's, in a way, kind of incomplete in a way. There are a couple of aspects in Disclosure that I wish they could have had a bit more development, could have explained some elements a little bit more, because the film kind of started right away, but it just felt like a mess, and I'm just thinking, okay, what is this movie trying to bring upon? But to me, my biggest negative when it comes to this film, from turning this movie from being great, is the character development. Despite that, I do think the cast in this movie is phenomenal in this film, and I would say Emily Blunt has the most development and is the most interesting character out of everyone in the film. The rest of the characters though, despite that I do think the acting is really well done in the film, it doesn't have as much development. Actually, most of the development in this film is pretty much standard and kind of dull in this film. There's a difference between an acting being good in the film while having characters that you do care about. The acting is good, but the characters could have been a bit more developed. Especially in my opinion, Colin Firth in this film, which I did mention in positives, and that is for a reason. I do think Colin Firth is fine in this movie, but he just plays a one-note government villain that we've seen in so many other movies before, going after the people, trying not to expose his secrets around the world. You know, it's pretty dull in this film, and he doesn't have the most development in the film, which I wish he could have been much more explored in the film, because his character is interesting in this film if he's gotten a bit more development. And I feel like that's what's missing when it comes to David Koepp's screenplay in this film. Development. It's more about the concept that I was intrigued by than the characters, and I wish those two aspects combined together even better. And also I wanted to mention the CGI in this film is hit or miss. The UFO stuff looks fantastic. Obviously, we know there's going to be aliens and UFOs in the film, and the CGI they brought up is great. But there's also CGI animals in this film that looks really terrible in my opinion. Actually, it turns out to be basically Kingdom of the Crystal Skull bad. That's how bad the CGI animals do look in this film, and it actually ruined a really beautiful thing that this film's trying to bring up because of how noticeable how bad the CGI is with the animals in the film. So with those flaws aside, that's what turns down this film from being great. But with all that said, overall, I still think this is a really good Steven Spielberg film. I thought the concept is very unique and original, and I was mostly very invested throughout the film. The acting is great in the film, but Emily Blunt really does steal this film for me. She is phenomenal in this film. This film has some exciting scenes. The action scenes are also really good in the film. The runaway thriller aspect is well done in the film. John Williams' score is incredible. Steven Spielberg's direction with this film is absolutely perfect. It is incredible in this film. But what really let the film down is David Koepp's screenplay. I wish the first act could have been so much better when it comes to setting up the film, and I wish the characters have a bit more development to the point where you do care about them. But you know what? Walking out of this film going, it's still a really good Steven Spielberg film. I was just expecting this film to be a lot more better than it is. And watching the trailers of this film, don't expect this movie to be like the biggest science fiction epicness thriller. This movie is more of a mystery thriller with UFO elements in it. I'm just pointing it out right now. But I still think it's a film that you definitely should check out, especially if you're huge Steven Spielberg fans. I think this film still brings some magic. It just could have been a little bit better with the screenplay, in my personal opinion. So I would say for Disclosure Day, I wouldn't say go rush out and see this film, but definitely check it out. Not the worst out of Steven Spielberg's films, but it's not his greatest in my opinion. But still, I really enjoyed Disclosure Day. It's a very investing film. I just wish it could have been better. So guys, that is my review for Disclosure Day. Let me know what you think of this film in the comments below. Do you like the film, hate the film, or you thought it's okay? And what is your favourite Steven Spielberg movie? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media links down below. Keep contact with me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, notify for my latest movie reviews and other movie related content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day.